are people in action. We are ESOL students who study English and community organizing at EFA London. Our aim is to give information about problems to migrant communities in our videos. We have done a survey and we can see that one of the main issues for migrant communities is the English language barrier. This is the first video of People in Action, and we have invited Dermot Bryers, who is founder of English for Action, or EFA, and we would like to get more information about EFA, and of course, we would like to share this information with others. Now, my colleague Esther will start the interview with Mr. Dermot.
Hi, good evening. My name is Esther. I've been living in London since 2015. I'm a student of a community organizing English for Action. So thank you for coming, Dermot. I would like to ask you several questions. The first question I would like to ask you is, what is English for Action?
Hi, thank you very much for asking me. What is English for Action? English for Action is a charity. It's an organization based in London that supports people, migrants and refugees, people from other countries who are living in London, to improve their English, but also to learn about their rights and to learn how to organize and take action for social change. So we believe, I suppose, that migrants and refugees in London have more problems with inequality, with poverty, with exploitation at work, and that by learning English and learning about their rights and standing together and organizing and fighting together, we can make London a fairer and more equal place. And that's what English for Action is trying to do.
Thank you. My next question is, when was English for Action founded?
It was founded in 2006. So I was working as an organizer, a labor organizer, working with hotel workers in West London, helping hotel workers to fight for better wages and better conditions at work. And they were interested in learning English and improving their English. And I had taught English already. I'd taught English before. So I set up 2 English classes for hotel workers. And then we went from there. Little by little, we set up more classes. We learned about the methods, and we expanded, and we employed more teachers and more organizers.
Thank you. We would like to know where the idea of the name English for Action came from.
So the idea of the name is to combine 2 things: learning English and taking action. We think it's 2 things that go together very well. That people who are new to London, people who don't speak English as their first language, they really want to learn English, but they also want to take action to improve their lives, to improve their communities, to have a better chance for a good life here in London. We also, as the organization developed, learned more about the pedagogy, the teaching approach, and the long tradition of combining action for social change with language learning and literacy learning. People have been doing this for decades, if not centuries. And we're part of a long tradition, and we're learning about the different ways that people have done it and experimenting with the methods, with the pedagogy to learn more.
What are the main objectives of English for Action?
Yeah, good question. So the main objectives at English for Action, as I said at the beginning, our main objective is that we want London to be a fairer, more equal city. So we want migrants in London to have equal rights to everybody else, to other people. In fact, we want working class people, women and migrants. Most of our students are women, although we have men too, but we want people who are particularly migrants to have a better chance to escape poverty and to make the change that will benefit all Londoners. I think all Londoners, it doesn't matter if you're a migrant or not, will benefit from migrants having more rights, because we can campaign together, we can make fairer workplaces, we can increase wages, we can improve housing, and this will benefit all Londoners, not only migrants. Fundamentally, we want to help people improve their English. We also then want to help people to learn how to organize, and ourselves as teachers, we want to improve our skills and learn how to organize and take action. We also want the government to improve ESOL for everybody, to improve not just for EFA students, but all migrants across London, even across the United Kingdom, deserve better ESOL. They deserve the chance to learn English. We would like more funding for ESOL and better classes and more accessible classes. And finally, another objective is to really learn about the methods, to teach the methods, and so we can improve ESOL for everybody.
Thank you. My next question is, what are English for Action main strengths?
English for Action's main strengths. Good question. Well, I think first of all, I would have to say that we have a large and energetic group of students who are really committed to learning, improving their language, taking action, supporting each other, getting involved, taking part in all of the opportunities we offer. So our main strengths is our students. We also have wonderful teachers. I'm very proud of my colleagues. We have a growing team of about 15 members of staff now, who are all amazingly passionate about social justice and about teaching English and helping migrants to improve their lives. I think we're good at doing teacher training. We've got this innovative approach, which we call participatory ESOL. So we're quite well known for participatory ESOL, and we do research and training in participatory ESOL. So all those things I would say are our strengths.
Thank you. And now my partner, Pedro, is continue to asking several questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Esther. Hello, Dermot. Thank you for attending this interview. My name is Pedro. I am from Venezuela, and I have been living in London for almost 2 years. I am an ESOL student in EFA. My first question to you, Dermot, is, do you experience any difficulties when creating EFA?
Yeah, lots of difficulties. It was a slow process. It took about 2 or 3 years to go from the first classes to becoming a fully registered organization, a charity with the ability to raise money from trusts and foundations. Our first application to become a charity failed. We did everything ourselves. We didn't have money to pay for solicitors or lawyers to help us. I collected a group of trustees who were 6 people who I knew with different expertise and different experiences. So they were very helpful, but we did it all ourselves, and it was slow. It was difficult to set up a website. It was difficult to recruit students for our classes. Sometimes it was difficult to keep courses going. We would have difficulties finding good spaces and partner organizations to host our classes. And as we were not very well known, it was also difficult to raise money. So for the first 3 years, it was only me part-time. And slowly we had colleagues joining us. So maybe after about 2 years, we had one of my colleagues who's still working with us, called Ariel. but he was only working a few hours a week. From that time, we started to contract teachers, but again, only short contracts for a few hours a week. It wasn't until 3 or 4 years after our first classes that we became a little bit more established, had a little bit more money, and trusts and foundations started to believe in us and to give us funding.
Thank you. I see it was difficult at the beginning, like everything. Well, my next question for you is, has EFA grown over the years?
So definitely it's grown over the years. Yeah. At the very beginning, as I said, it was myself and the trustees, particularly somebody called Camille, who had also ran some classes herself alongside back in 2006. So from those very beginnings, with just me and Camille and the rest of the trustees, very small, maybe we had 4 or 5 classes a week, and for the first year, and very slowly we would add a class every year or every 2 years. Now we've probably got about 28 classes a week, but we're adding all the time. So after Christmas, it's probably more like 32. In terms of the budget of the organization, it's grown a lot. The very first year, I think we're now 20 times bigger in terms of our budget than we were 13, 14 years ago. And as I said before, we've now got 15, 16 members of staff, 400, maybe 500 students. And in the first year, it was less than 1 full-time member of staff because we were all part-time, and maybe 60 students, something like that.
Thank you. My next question is, what motivates you to work with EFA?
Motivates me? Well, first of all, I would probably say I love teaching. I would love teaching in any context. I think I love teaching kids, but particularly languages. I'm really interested in language and how they work, and learning languages and teaching languages. So I think the first thing is, if you're lucky enough to enjoy your job, that's an important thing. So I really enjoy it. Secondly, I feel like I want to make a positive contribution to society. I wouldn't measure my success or impact by things like, how much money I earned, or if if I was famous, for example. It's, for me, I think maybe coming from my family, from my background, it's more important to be helpful, to be useful in society. I think helping people to learn language and fight for their rights is a good contribution. And I feel committed to the city as well. I'm from London and I love the city. And if I can help people who are arriving in London to live a better life and enjoy their life in London, and to make it a better city for all of us, then I'm really happy to be able to do that.
Thank you for your answer. My next question, Dermot, what is EFA for you?
EFA for me, it's always it's something that is changing all the time. It's growing, it's developing, it's having, more and more people are involved, more and more people own it. So it's not only mine, it's something shared between hundreds of students and all my lovely colleagues, something that we're all working on together. It's a joint project. So something I'm proud of. It's something exciting. It's something that you never know what's going to happen, because new things happen all the time. It's something very innovative, very organic, and hopefully something that people value, that people respect.
Thank you. My next question is, what challenges have you faced since EFA started?
Lots of challenges. Fundraising is always difficult. I've been lucky enough to work with fantastic fundraisers, colleagues like Kate and Phoebe, and other colleagues now that are helping. So we've done well, but you can never be sure. It's a difficult job to raise the money, to find the money for the activities. There are also many challenges in terms of the problems that come up in class, helping students with very difficult problems, exploitation at work, difficulties in their communities with their housing. So sometimes it can be a little bit sad and depressing when people are in difficulty. And sometimes we can't solve all of these problems, and it's frustrating, and you can feel powerless. But then sometimes we can help, and we can join together with other organizations who can help, and you feel more powerful, and you feel like you can make positive change, and you feel the solidarity of working together in a big group, and that's good. Other challenges, sometimes there are difficulties with the bureaucracy, like I said, with setting it up at the beginning and all of the paperwork and filing your annual report and spreadsheets and the finances of the organization. It can be challenging.
Thank you for your answer. My last question for you is, can you tell us about your experience in EFA?
My experience in EFA, it's been overwhelmingly positive. Yeah, wonderful experience. I always think you're very lucky if you can enjoy your work. A lot of people, they work because they have to, doing difficult jobs, and I find my job is not difficult because I enjoy it. Because yes, okay, there can be challenges and it can be hard work sometimes, but fundamentally, I'm working with people who are really happy to be working with me. The students, they love their classes generally. They're really positive, enthusiastic. I get energy from them. So I would say it's been an energizing experience, super positive experience. I'm learning all the time, learning new languages from my students, learning about different perspectives, learning the teaching, learning about organizing, and learning about politics, learning about the politics of London and the UK. So I'm always interested, and every day is a bit different. So it's a very varied experience. I like that. Sometimes I'm teaching, sometimes I'm looking at the finances, sometimes I'm writing applications, sometimes I'm campaigning, supporting colleagues. Every day is different.
Thank you for your answers, Dermot. So I am very grateful for you and for EFA, because they are helping a lot for us, for all the migrants. So now my colleagues then will continue with the interview.
Thank you.
Thank you. My next question is, what do you want to achieve with this organization?
Good question. So we're thinking about the future, I suppose. I mean, I think already we've achieved a lot. We must have helped thousands of people improve their language, learn about life in London, take action, improve their organizing skills. But we can do a lot more. We're primarily based in London. I think we can expand. We can have an impact outside of London in different British cities. We can also have an impact by teaching other language teachers and activists about the methods that we use. Not only in England, we work with people across Europe through our Erasmus Plus, our European Union funded projects. We write up our reports and our research, and hopefully they get read, and we do training for people in different parts of the world. So yes, I think we can have an impact beyond London. That would be one thing. I think we can be more powerful. I think we can start to have more of an impact in the local communities where we're organized, where we have classes, in order to improve things like housing conditions, allow migrants in the different London boroughs to have more of a say on what their communities look like and how their institutions are organized, and and the services that are delivered. We can also have more of a say about ESOL policy. I would like us to be well known by people who are setting the ESOL policy for the United Kingdom, people in the Department of Education or the GLA, the Mayor's Office, so that we're having an influence, and they're using the ideas that are coming from our students and our teachers to make positive changes in ESOL across the UK.
Thank you. My next question is, what were you doing before you created English for Action?
Well, I was young. I was doing a master's degree in SOAS in London, in something called Development Studies. I was working part-time in a cafe. I was living at home with my parents in South London, and I was just got a job working part-time for an organization called London Citizens as a community organizer, specifically campaigning on the living wage and organizing hotel workers. And it was from that work and those conversations and the research I was doing for my master's, which was about organizing and migrant workers, organizing migrant workers and the strategies that were developing in different parts of the world. So I was studying, working, and setting up the first classes. That was in 2006.
My next question is, what is the purpose of ESOL campaigning?
So the purpose of ESOL campaigning basically is that migrants have a better experience of ESOL. They have more ESOL, quicker access. They can find the classes easier. They can, particularly women, can have childcare, but also men, but particularly women need childcare, so they can access the classes. We want the quality to be better because of the, improved training and better pay and conditions for teachers. But yeah, fundamentally that migrants have a better offer because we think ESOL is such an important thing when you arrive in the UK.
Yes, you're right. Do you think the language, English language, is the barrier to the daily life of the migrants in this country? Why?
Yeah, so what I've always thought is that language is certainly a barrier for migrants in the UK in terms of their daily life, but it's not the only barrier. So people talk about, if everybody's, the reason why some migrants maybe have worse pay and conditions at work, generally, or they suffer disproportionately from poverty and inequality and bad housing conditions, is because they don't speak English. It's not only because they don't speak so much English. Low levels of English is a big barrier, and maybe it's the most important one, but there's also issues, structural inequalities to do with racism, to do with gender inequalities, and these come together, these barriers, language, racism, lack of knowledge, and then other inequalities like gender inequality, and then that all comes together and makes it particularly difficult for people. And you can't tackle one without tackling the other, I don't think. So if you improve people's language, then they might come across another barrier. So it's all wrapped up in together, and I think it's really important that when we teach language, we also teach about the other barriers and how we can take action to improve social justice across the different barriers that people face.
Thanks a lot for answer. And now my nurse partner is going to ask the next questions.
Thank
you.
Ciao Antonio.
Hello, Dermot.
Al mio amic.
How are you, Dermot?
I'm very well. Yeah, how are you?
Fine. My name is Antonio, and I come from Italy, and I am a ESOL student in EFA. And I have this opportunity because I was in London in 2016 and meet EFA, and after come back to my country. But during the pandemic, I can start again to study English with my teacher and in IFA, and enjoy this opportunity. And I would like ask to Dermot something about your organization, EFA London, and the first is, what do you recommend to EFA students to improve their English?
Good question. What would I recommend to EFA students to improve their English? So I would recommend, I mean, first of all, use English all the time. Use it as much as you can. Don't worry about being correct. Don't be shy. Speak it with everybody. Doesn't matter if it's, people sometimes think I need to speak with native speakers. No, rubbish. You need to speak with anybody. You just need to play with the language, make jokes, tell stories, do what you can. Lots of input as well. Read read newspapers, watch YouTube videos, get on social media, so that you're having lots of diverse interactions using English. It can be difficult as well. So don't get frustrated, and it takes everybody different time. Sometimes it takes people a long time, years and years. So be patient. And also I would say, yeah, I said a bit about sort of don't worry about the accuracy. Don't worry about always being correct, because it's I think it's important to make mistakes and just to be courageous, speak a lot, listen to yourself when you're speaking, and give yourself feedback when you're speaking. But also, it's also about all of the other issues, like I said, the social issues. If you have better paying conditions at work, you have more time to learn. If you have better access to courses, then you have more opportunity. So there's lots of things you can do as an individual, but then I would also say, take collective action so that you have more of an opportunity, more time, and better, and be in a better place in the rest of your life. I think sometimes when life is difficult, it's difficult to find the motivation to learn. So it's all connected.
The second question is, are there any requirements for being able to study in EFA?
Generally no. First of all, we often work with organizations who host our classes, like schools or children's centers or churches or trade unions. So sometimes they say that we need to prioritize their members or people local in their communities. So sometimes, yeah, belonging to our partner organizations is one criteria, one requirement. Sometimes we take money from government or local authorities, or the European Union, for example, and they give special requirements for different people from particular countries or having a particular visa, for example. But we always have an option for somebody, because we think it's very important that doesn't matter about your visa or about where you come from, you have a right to learn. So we always make sure that we have some classes that welcome anybody, wants to learn English. So there are some classes completely open with no requirements, and then some classes which have requirements, but the majority are open for everybody. Some classes are only for women, for example. But yeah, generally we have something for everybody.
The third is, does FIFA give any certificate?
Yeah, so we can do exams in English for Action. We can do exams. So normally at the end of the academic year, in June or July, if the students want, they can take an exam in speaking and listening, or reading, or writing, or sometimes all three. And then we can give a certificate if they pass their exam. Sometimes that's useful for people, so they can access courses, or they can put it on their CV, or maybe even some jobs ask if you have any certificates in ESOL. So we do it, but we don't think it's the most important thing in the world. More important to to improve your language and have fun and meet people and build community and take action. But yes, we can give certificates, and some students need it and they want it.
The next is what the height level of classes 8 EFA
What is the
Height.
highest level?
level?
So okay, ESOL has five levels officially. Entry level 1, entry level 2, entry level 3, level 1, and level 2. So the highest level is level 2. But normally our classes are a little bit mixed. So we don't really have any classes which are only for level 2, but we have some classes which are level 1 plus for level 1 and level 2 students, and some classes which is mixed, but we have 2 or 3 students who are level 2. Level 2 is quite an advanced level.
Does EFA only teach English, or is there any other course they offer?
Yeah, good question. So first of all, I would say that our classes are not only English. So in our English classes, people are also learning about different things, different topics, about housing, about workers' rights, about history, about community organizing. So our classes are quite mixed. You could call it interdisciplinary. But also we do specific courses which are more about learning organizing. So Adela teaches these, and we teach students community organizing and English, but the emphasis is community organizing. Yeah, so the main focus of our courses is generally ESOL, or learning English, but at the same time people are often learning about other things, about history, about rights, about housing and workers' rights. They're also learning about organizing and politics and how things work in our local communities, and about power. And then we also have some other classes where, yes, there's some learning English, but the main focus is something else. Like at the moment, we're running a course on Black history and anti-racism that our colleague Robin is teaching. And they're learning some English, but the main focus is anti-racism.
Okay, Dermot. The other question is it free to study with EFA?
Yeah, it's how do we put it? It's free for the participants. It's funded generally by charities and trusts and foundations. So yes, it's free for the participants, but we do pay our teachers. Our teachers are professionals, they're paid. So we find the money from somewhere, from government, or more generally from trusts and foundations who give us the money so that we don't have to charge the students. So yeah, almost always the courses have been free, because we believe that education is a right, that it should be free.
The other question is where does EFA get funding from?
So funding is one of our big jobs that we have at EFA. It's not easy. I work closely with my colleague Phoebe, who leads on our fundraising. We apply for money from trusts and foundations. That means private charities that give money for important things. We also get some money from local government, from local authorities. We have some funding from the European Union, from the Erasmus Plus program. Sometimes people give us money, so individuals will support us, and we're very grateful to people that donate every month a little bit of their salary to support our activities. And sometimes we do small events where we raise money by doing a special event. But the most of it, the majority probably comes from trusts and foundations.
The last question is, how people can be in contact with EFA?
So we have a website, www.efalondon.org. You can find out about our activities there. You can get in touch by sending us an email. The email address is info at efalondon.org, or you can write to Dermot, that's me, Dermot, DERMOT, at efalondon.org. How else? We're on Twitter, we're on Facebook. You can leave a comment on Facebook. If you look for EFA London, you'll find us on Twitter and on Facebook. So yeah, all the normal ways. And you can even, I think there's even a telephone number on our website if you want to call.
Thank you, Dermot, for your time.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.